when looking at the Illinois Constitution, it shouldn't be completely unfamiliar. As I said, the federal government kind of mandated that state constitutions look somewhat similar to the U.S. Constitution. So we see many of the individual rights and liberties found in the Federal Bill of Rights of the U.S. Constitution. So, for example, in Illinois, we're guaranteed freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the right to assemble and petition, the right to bear arms, freedom from self-incrimination, Amendments 1, 2, 4, 5, all of it. We're guaranteed all of it. Just joking, but this is all in the U.S. Constitution and in the Illinois Constitution, and the right to a trial by jury. So Article 1 says due process and equal protection are guarantees for us as citizens of the state of Illinois, which means everyone is entitled to the same basic rights and the same fair procedures under the law. We're all equal under the law. Or should be, anyway. Article 1 forbids discrimination on the basis of sex and on the basis of physical or mental handicaps. And this is unique to us. The federal government saying it has to be similar isn't saying it has to be identical. So this statement isn't found in the U.S. Constitution. Maybe it should be. I don't know. What do you think about that? One section of Article 1 is the right of eminent domain. Eminent domain allows the government to purchase private property for public use. In fact, I think this might be another discussion that we do. Should this be in the U.S. Constitution or not? I don't know. Or is it already? Check Canvas. One section, so eminent domain allows the government to purchase private property for public use. So if a piece of land is needed to build a highway or a bridge to be used by all the people, the state has the right to buy the land for a fair price, even if the owner doesn't want to sell. Now, who is determining the fair price? So, say I'm sitting in my house and the state wants to buy it under eminent domain, fine. I get somebody in to tell me the real market value, and they come at me with $500,000. Okay, great. I come to the state. I say, state, $500,000, please, and you could have my land. The state says no. They send out their own surveyors. They come up with $200,000. It's the state that's making the determination of what the fair price is. And if you, if you don't want to sell, I don't think that happens here, but as it says, this is a house in China, but the point still stands that the state's going to do what the state's going to do. So the powers of the state. The Illinois Constitution divides the state government into three branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. I hope I'm not breaking news to anybody, because it's the same thing as the federal government. We have the executive, headed by the governor, the judicial, the Illinois Supreme Court, the legislative, the Illinois General Assembly. So Article 3 of our Constitution sets up voting qualifications and election laws. To vote, you have to be a U.S. citizen, 18 years old, and a resident of Illinois for at least 30 days prior to the election. Should it be longer than 30 days? Well, maybe. I don't know. That's up to you to decide for yourself. And you have to register to vote in the county in which you live. So the legislative department, Article 4, gives us rules for the legislative branch of Illinois government, which is known as the General Assembly. And this is similar to the United States Congress. The General Assembly has two different houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Should sound familiar. We have 59 legislative districts. And from these 59 legislative districts, we pull our state Senate. Now, to get state representatives, we divide the state Senate districts in half. So one state Senate district, 2 representative districts. So 59 state senators, 118 state representatives. Remember that. So every 10 years, the General Assembly has to redistrict, or again divide the state into new districts based on new census information. Districts have to be compact, contiguous, and substantially equal in population. And we've struggled with that, and we're still struggling with that, but I think it's gotten a little bit better, which, at least in Illinois, anyway. I'm not saying it's still not happening, but I think it's gotten a little bit better, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So districts can't be divided into several parts. All districts must have approximately the same number of people. So here you see 2 districts, District 17 and District 118. So in District 17 here, I think this is fairly compact, contiguous, and substantially equal in population. I mean, I've seen districts where, like, it would have gone out to here, and then there would have been a break, and then District 17 would have continued over here. But anyway, you see District 17, total votes in 2024, 54,485. Again, those are people who are over the age of 18, who cared enough to come out and vote. So in District 118, over on the right, Republican Paul Jacobs ran unopposed in this election, so, well, he won. Surprise, surprise. The total number of votes he got, 36,564. Now, why is that less? Less people live in southern Illinois. This, as you can see, District 17 is right up against Lake Michigan. And more people live in the northern part of our state. That's just a fact. So each district elects 1 senator and 2 representatives. So there are 59 state senators and 118 representatives in the General Assembly. Last time I did this class, people were awfully confused, so I mean, I'll try to illustrate what I mean here. All right. This is a state Senate district, right? We pull 1 state senator from here. All right. Now, we cut it in half, and there are 2 representative districts, and we do that all over the state. I mean, it's a little confusing just to think about, but maybe, I mean, an illustration sometimes helps. So 1 state Senate district, we cut it in half. It's still a legislative district, but now we just number it 1 and 2, and it's Senate District number 1, and Representative Districts 1 and 2. And we do it again, right? 3 and 4, but it's Senate District number 2. So to be elected to the General Assembly, a person must be a U.S. citizen, at least 21 years of age, and a resident of the district to be represented for at least 2 years. Is that long enough to know the needs of a district, to just live there for 2 years? That's something else to think about. So every 2 years, state representatives are elected. They serve 2-year terms. State senators serve 4-year terms. So it's similar to the federal government. So we clean House and the House of Representatives every 2 years. All 118 seats are up. The Senate is staggered, so they're not all up at the same time. So to go back to the Illinois House of Representatives, again, 118 members elected every 2 years. I'm hitting this more than twice, so I think it's something you ought to remember. It's the lower house of the legislature. The Democratic Party is in control there. We don't have term limits. We don't believe in term limits in Illinois or in the federal Congress either, evidently. The current session started on January 8th, 2025, but they are adjourned as of August 1st. That doesn't mean they won't be back. They'll be back. There's another session. They're still working. It just, they're taking a break. The leadership of the House is as follows. So Emanuel Chris Welch, a Democrat. The Speaker is the leader of the House of Representatives, very similar to Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. The Majority Leader is Robin Gable. The Minority Leader is Tony McCombie. He's been in there for a long time. So there are 78 Democrats and 40 Republicans in the House of Representatives. And their authority comes from Article 4 of the Illinois Constitution. And they make $89,250 a year, plus $166 per diem. A per diem that can be used for food, lodging, really whatever. If a representative, say, is coming down from Waukegan to Springfield and can't get back home, it might come in handy to pay for a hotel room, although maybe perhaps they're making enough money where they don't need the per diem. Again, something to think about. But that's what a per diem is for. So they make laws for Illinois in the House of Representatives. They appropriate funds. This is an old parliamentary thing. The lower house of the legislature, whatever state, whatever country you're in, is the one that typically is appropriating funds. They consider the vetoes of the governor, and they begin the impeachment of state officials, the impeachment process of state officials. So like the federal House of Representatives, the U.S. House of Representatives, these guys will decide what a representative or what not, or maybe a representative, who knows, but maybe what the governor or the lieutenant governor or a judge or whoever did wrong. They will consider and vote on articles of impeachment for said official, and if it passes, they'll go to the Senate. It works the same way as in the federal government. So the Illinois Senate is the upper house of our legislature, and again is under Democratic control. No term limits. Current session started, same as the House. They're adjourned. They will be back, just not right now. And their leadership, here is the President, Don Harmon, the Majority Leader, Kimberly Lightford, Minority Leader, John Curran. I would anticipate asking you who the President of the Senate is and who the Speaker of the House is, but these other people, I probably would not be asking you to remember their names. Because these guys, Harmon, Welch, Madigan before Welch, the presidents of the Senate and the speakers of the House tend to stick around for a long, long time. So my hunch is that Don Harmon and Emanuel Chris Welch will probably be president of the Senate and the Speaker of the House for easily another 8 to 10 years. So the Senate has 59 members. The Senate has 40 Democrats in it and 19 Republicans. And they have 4-year terms. The authority is Article 4 of the Illinois Constitution. And they make the same as a member of the House, $89,250 a year, plus $166 per diem for lodging, gas, food, whatever the senator thinks that he or she might need. And the duties of the Illinois State Senate, again, make laws for Illinois, appropriate funds, consider the vetoes of the governor. Sound familiar? This is serve as judges in impeachment trials. So they'll do the same thing as the United States Senate. If articles of impeachment against a state official come to them from the Illinois House of Representatives, they'll sit and hear and hold a trial, and the senators will vote on whether to convict or acquit said official. And they'll also approve appointments made by the governor, which is pretty easily done since the governor is a Democrat, the state Senate's under Democratic control, as is the state House of Representatives. So Article 5 provides rules for the executive branch of the Illinois government, and there are 6 different executive branch officials, otherwise known as constitutional officers, and they are as follows: the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, the secretary of state, the comptroller, and the treasurer. We elect these 6 individuals every 4 years. The governor and the lieutenant governor run on a ticket like the president and vice president. This did not used to happen in our state, and these 4 run separately. So to run for an office, to be a constitutional officer in the state of Illinois, you have to be a citizen of the United States, you have to be at least 25 years old, and you have to be a resident of Illinois for at least 3 years.